Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of FSEconomy with me, Herd37. So the next two flights are going to be pretty important, this one and the next one. The thing is, we own, or actually we don't own it, we're leasing a Grand Caravan, and so we have to pay monthly for it, and obviously it only makes sense if you're using it to make money. The problem is we got this thing up here into like east or northeast Canada, and there's not a whole lot of airports around, and so there's not that many jobs for it. So we've been trying to get out of here so we can actually use it, because it's just been sitting because there isn't really anything to make money. There's like one flight to another airport. Let me check this out. I think it's CCP2, but it just kind of goes back and forth between these two airports. There's nothing really else, so I'm trying to get this thing out of here. Because if you see, where are we? We are at CCC2 in, what was it, Winterland, I think? Winterland, Newfoundland? So that's where we are, right there. And it's just a big problem because we got to get that plane out of there. So I finally found a way to do it. We're going to go from CCC2, Winterland, Newfoundland, to CYQX, which is Gander, Newfoundland. And I think, isn't that the airport where there was a big plane crash? What, the English football team or something that got killed, something like that. But the thing is, once we get there at CYQX, there's a big paying job right here going to Falmouth, or how would you say it, Falmouth, whatever, Massachusetts. 6 passengers, executive pays $12,758. That's a good opportunity to get the hell out of here for once and for all. What is CYYG? Well, we're still going to take this no matter what. Thing is, it's 802 miles. This thing has a range of about 1,200, so it's about 2/3. So it's pretty muchly, and that's the Grand Caravan. Well, no, that was the 208. I take that back. So it is about 2/3. So that's a long, long flight. So let's get to CYQX. Let me check this out here. As you can see, well, 2 people, it doesn't pay much, but the thing is to get it to that big paying job and get the heck out of here. Maybe we can get to some bigger airports so that thing can be used. Make some real money. There's only 2 people out of 13. It's only paying $776, but that's okay. Let's take a look over here. FSEconomy. And let me see if I can even find anything. Yeah, the wind was coming out of the southwest. Well, that's down here, so who knows what it is at Winterland. So what we're going to do is take off on runway 33, and that's a heading of 327 degrees. Then over here at Gander, unfortunately the wind is working against us. Man, I wish it was in the perfectly other direction. We could come straight in. But we can't. So we're going to come in and land on runway 21. This way, heading 209 degrees. So we'll try to come in here at about 45 degrees, which is what, 344 degrees. Come straight up parallel with the runway at 030 degrees. Take a left at 300 degrees, and then down to the runway at 209. Alright, so let's come on. I guess we can go ahead and close that down. And yeah, I think that's about it. So what, 509 pounds and 37% fuel. And it'll be plenty. I think it's got about 3 hours worth of fuel. Yeah, 40 gallons an hour, and it's got 122. So it's got 3 hours worth of fuel. We'll fuel it up when we get to Gander, because we're going to need that thing pretty much full when we get to Gander. But with that, let's go ahead and move on over to the plane. Alright, here we are, CCC2 in Winterland. It's actually, like, the weather is, like, great. I would have figured it would have been, like, terrible or something. I know it's been terrible where I am. The whole area near me has just been terrible weather. Rainy, humid as hell. Can't stand it. So I gotta work outside a lot. It's terrible. Anyway, let's go ahead and start this flight. I barely put any weight in it, and it's off by 753 pounds. That makes no sense whatsoever. Unless this thing is just loading itself up incorrectly. I can't imagine that. That's weird. Alright, so the parking brake is set. All switches should be off. Circuit breakers push in. Alt static errors off is pushed in. Inertial separator T-handle is in normal. Standby flat motor switch guarded. Norm it is. I don't really care too much about the oxygen. Fuel tank selectors. Both of those coming on. Ventilation fans and air conditioning. Those are these switches through here. They should be all off, I do believe. Yeah, they're all off. Bleed air heat switch. Off, and which is down. It is off. Alright, emergency power lever is in normal right here. Fuel shutoff knob on and pushed in. Cabin heat firewall shutoff control is down here, just pushed in. And we'll go ahead and turn the battery on. We'll say that we can hear the fans. You can hear something, definitely. Avionics number 1 coming on. Verify that it's good. It is. Let's go ahead and turn on avionics number 2. Looks like it's good and working as well. Fuel quantity. It's about 37%. Was it 37 or 34? Yeah, 37%. And we look down here and that looks about right. So that looks good. Engine soft key. Go over here to the system. Reset fuel totalizer if desired. I don't really care. I'm not going to do that. Wing flaps fully down. So it's going down. Now it says pitot heat and static. Pitot heat and stall heats on for 30 seconds and off. Then you're actually supposed to, I believe, go outside and actually see if they're hot. So we're not going to mess with that, obviously. Avionics number 1 and 2 now come off. And then the battery switch comes off. And that is the cabin check. You notice like that electronic sound didn't come off. Alright, the before starting engine checklist. The pre-flight inspection is complete. All key locking cabin doors is on. We're not going to worry about any of that. Cabin doors, latch, parking brake is set. Control lock is removed. Seat belts, all that. We don't really care too much about that. All the switches are off. Ignition switch. Let's check this actually. Make sure the ignition, where are you, is in norm. It always goes to on, so you have to move it to norm for that. Alright, so ignition switch norm, circuit breakers all pushed in, fuel tank selectors, again, both are already on, air conditioning is all off, bleed air heat switch is down, so it was literally just like the stuff we've been checking. Cabin heat mixing air control, it says flight push, I believe it's that one, I'm not for sure, so that's good. Emergency power lever, again, is in normal, that's what we want. There, that actually came up right there. Prop RPM lever. Max full forward. Fuel condition lever is right here. It is in cutoff. Fuel shutoff knob on and pushed in. Battery switch. Now turn that back on. Wing flap handle. Now we bring it all the way back up. No smoking is seatbelt switches. Turn those both on. I'd mute my mic for 1 second. Test switch says push up for fire detect warning, push down for fuel selector warning. It doesn't seem to make a sound or anything, so I just put it down. It says off, but I don't quite understand. Yeah. So there's that. Battery switch. Since we're starting the engine, battery start. Battery is already on. Beacon switch. We can go ahead and turn that on. Avionics number 1. We'll check it. No red X's or anything, so that looks good. Bus volts. Check for 24 volts minimum. We are at 22.9, so we're a little low. We never are at what it's supposed to be. Let's see. Emergency power lever. Verify that the message is off, and I don't see it on there. So that should be good. We can go ahead and check it a little bit closer. I don't see the emergency power lever or emergency power on there message. Let's say the prop area is clear. Let's go back over here. So fuel boost comes on. Fuel pressure low message should not be on there. It isn't. And let's see, the fuel flow parts per hour should be 0. And it is 0, it's right there. Starter switch comes on. Starter message is on. Should go 90 to 40 on here. It's actually at 2. That's kind of weird. Oh, we haven't actually hit this yet. This is 11.9% right there. We want 12. Hit 12. Low idle. Make sure we don't go flying. That actually said it should go 90 to 140, and it's not. Alright, starter can come off. Alright, and we need to check here. We do have oil pressure, it is in the green. Temperature looks okay as well. Alright, so generator, it wants us to check the load here. We got battery amp 0, bus volts 24. It doesn't really, can't remember it ever telling the load unless we go back over here. Generator, yeah, amps 0, alternator amps, battery amps. So, not quite sure how we exactly check that. By the way, fuel boost switch comes back to norm. Yeah, that's kind of weird because that never got to 90 at all. Actually, you know what? Verify generator off, battery amps charging. Alright, so now we do have amps over here at 23. I'm trying to see exactly where that even said to turn that on. Yeah, it says generator check load. It never actually says to turn it on. So that's kind of odd. Fuel boost switch back to norm, like I said. It says verify fuel boost message off, but it's not. It's still on, which is inconsistent because you have to turn that off for that to go off. So I'm not quite sure why that's like that. Avionics number 2 switch coming on. That looks good. Cabin heating, ventilating, and defrosting controls as desired. I don't really mess with that, obviously. Alright, now next will be the before takeoff checklist, which we'll do over towards the runway. And that's talking about the other warnings are about the icing controls. Alright, so let's tune into the traffic here. Select a runway for takeoff. We're going 33. Announce our taxi to 33.
Traffic, Cessna, November 275, Bravo Foxtrot is taxiing to runway 33.
Alright, I want to turn on my lights over here real quick. Taxi light, I'm going to turn my nav light on as well. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my heading here, 327 degrees. Hard to see. You all probably can't see it. Oh, I can barely see that. Read that. I need to check my views in this and make sure that I'm even like at the right zoom, because it almost feels like I'm zoomed out a little too much. Should have turned to the right, I guess. Oh well. We'll have plenty of room, by the way, to take off. Which is nice. We won't have to go to the other end of the runway. Let me move my mic up a little bit. I noticed it was kind of down a little bit. Alright, we'll stop her right here. Parking brake coming on. Oh, Oh, there went the remote right off the table. I knocked it right off when I grabbed these procedures. Parking brake is set. Flight controls, free and correct. Just make sure this is all good. Looks good. Rudder pedals look good as well. Altimeters, I'm going to go ahead and or just reset it like that. We'll just hit the button. Altitude select, I figured 7,500 would be alright. It's not a real long flight. Alright, I got a little higher. Fuel boost switch, again, is in norm. Fuel tank selectors, both on. Fuel quantity, once again, around 37%, so that looks good. Fuel shutoff knob fully pushed in. Elevator, aileron, rud trim controls. I'm actually going to trim this thing. I'm not going to trim it too much, man. Last time that nose went way up, so I'm not, and we're even lighter, so I'm not going to quite take it there, or else that nose comes way up. Power lever, 400 foot-pounds. Get over here. Alright, I have to pause for 1 second. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. So let's do, go 400 foot-pounds. That's that top number you see, 273. Move that to about 400. I know she's going to be kind of touchy. I don't want her going flying up there. Yeah, see there, she takes off. At 400, that's close right there. Very close. Bus volts, it says check minimum of 28.5. We're not there. We're at 28, it looks like. It's not quite 28.5. Inertial separator, so we check this. The torque should come down. It did. Push it back in, and it should come back up, and it did. So that looks good. Overspeed governor, we're not going to test that because it makes no sense. If you watch the last episode or two that we've done it, it doesn't quite make sense to me yet. So I'm going to go ahead and bypass that. Now it does say something about, by the way, we can turn this one off technically. And it does say about this, let me check this right here. Engine soft key, it says standby alternator power switch on. I can't actually seem to check that, because it doesn't say anything about standby. So I can't really check that. It says that there should be a message on there, and there just quite honestly isn't. Alright, so ice protection, let's go ahead and turn on our pitot heat, stall heat. There's pitot heat, stall heat, prop auto heat, hit ×2. Avionics and radar is set. Nav source, let's hit CDI a couple times, we'll set that to GPS. Wing flaps, hold on 1 second. Alright, transponder as well, we need to hit transponder. VFR. And it says it's on. Flaps are now set. Windows closed. Brakes. Now it does say also the inertial separator. It says set. It doesn't say. If I don't quite understand that. It just says set. All right, power lever. Take the takeoff. Rotate between 70 to 75 knots. I should have pulled that power back a little bit earlier. Really. Hey, we're taking off to the north. So go ahead and tell everybody. I don't see anybody that way. Nobody that way either. Strobes and landing lights both on. Let's go flying. Parking brake is off. So let's get on the runway. And I want to check one thing about my procedures as well. I know it says 70 to 75 for the rotate. Flaps go up at 85 to 95. And, alright, cool. See, it says inertial separator after that again, but it just says set. Alright, let's go ahead and bring the power up. Bring it back just a little bit so because it's in the red, as you can see. Bring that back. Now we're good. Really wants to go left on me. Go ahead and rotate. And the flaps can go ahead and be retracted. Seems like they get retracted awfully quick. Although I rotated a little slow because the airspeed was going up really quick. So I want to climb about 110 to 120 knots, it says. And then we want our prop RPM 1600 to 1900. I'm gonna have to zoom in right here. Prop RPM is listed right here. It is 1900, so technically that's okay right there. Let's turn to the right. I think we're far away. Far away enough so we can go ahead and start turning. Crossing 2,000 feet. Let's go over the ocean. It looks like we were climbing really quick, but I was doing that to get the power, or to get the speed down. What I can actually do is bring the power down. Really what I should have done. So we'll bring her down some more. We'll keep coming to the right over a little more towards the line. I'm gonna go ahead and move my heading to kind of like about where we're at. Autopilot, yaw damper, flight director are on. I'm going to go ahead and set that to heading. And on vertical speed, I'll go ahead and move that up to about a... Let's see how we climb at about 1,000 feet a minute. Come over to the right a little bit more. Towards that line. At about 1,000 feet a minute. We're at 121, that's pretty good. Because it says in or out climb 110 to 120 knots. And like I said, prop RPM lever 16, 1900, and then inertial separator, again, it just says set. I hate that. You can see the prop RPM right there at 1900. And then power lever set. To my next page, and it never does say anything about the you know what, I don't know if we missed anything, but I never saw that. That's supposed to be all the way up, because I was about to say it never says anything about bringing that back. By the way, I don't know where we missed that. That was supposed to be a full, I think that was probably before when we did the run up. I think you're supposed to bring that all the way up. I did not see that in the thing, but I'm almost positive it's there. It should be there. I think it was there last time, so that was my mistake of missing it. Well, who else's fault would it have been if we did miss it? And I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, because I know if I turn this on, it's going to have that message about the fuel boost, so I'll go ahead and turn that off. It says that somewhere. I can't remember if that's before the takeoff or if it's after we land. I can't remember. Let's take a look outside real quick. Tons of water. Thinking the airport was back over here, possibly? Or we're a little far away. Doesn't look like there's much out here. Just water. Just lots and lots of water. I'm gonna go ahead and move the prop back. Now I'm gonna look right up here. It was at 91% before. Now we've got it down to 18. I should say 1,810. But I moved it back, and that percent RPM is, well, I guess that's NG. I know, it's kind of confusing because it says NG, but it says, I don't quite understand. Percent RPM, a little confusing for me. Alright, now that we're almost on track here, let's go ahead and hit nav. And our desired track will be 035. Looks like we're about right on it. Got an airplane heading right towards us. Right behind us, actually. Almost to 6,500 feet. Our cruising altitude. Reset my view. Actually, it was 7,500 was our cruising altitude, not 6,500. That's what I said. Still climbing at 1,000 a minute. And now it comes down as I say that. And we'll go cruising at 7,500. Cruise, as it says, ice protection if installed as required. Pitot heat, sol heat, prop heat. We've got that all on. Inertial separator is set. Again, just as set. I believe maybe if it was raining or something, we would turn that on. It also has to do with like contaminated or noise and stuff like that. And again, props RPM lever 1600 to 1900, and the power lever set as well. Let's see what we're set at. I'll put it around 66, I'm thinking. 66, that's good right there. Let's go ahead and move this back. Now I believe the power is what moved that time. It's 1600 to 1900. The middle would be 1750, so at 1720, I'm happy right there. That should be good. Let's look at the distance and the time here. We're 110 nautical miles out. Time just over a half hour. And by the way, we're flying over to the VOR just off to the east, and then we'll actually go. Well, yeah, it is to the east. So we'll head a little more to the north over towards the airport. It's not too far away. Well, with that, let's go ahead and speed on up, everybody, and be back in just a bit. Alright, everybody's slowing her down here. About 9 miles out from that VOR. Just a second ago, man, I just got saved. I just got so lucky. I have a problem with one of my drive zone mounting every once in a while. It's an important one because it contains like, oh Jesus, Flight Center, GUX, the mesh and everything. And so all of a sudden, this thing has been clicking off error. And luckily, I was able to unplug it and plug it back in, and it actually worked. I'm very surprised about that. Full high RPM, condition lever is high as well. Going down to about 1500, that'll put us at 1000 AGL. Reset my altimeter real quick. Oh man, I'm like, can anything else go wrong? Because when I fly in FSEconomy up here in Canada, something always goes wrong. By the way, that's going to be our runway right over here. So we'll cut over here in a second. It'll be about 300 degrees. Round about 300. Because the way we're coming in, I hadn't planned to go out to this VOR, so the angle is a little different. No, it's 344. I apologize. 300 is 2 after that, so it'll be 344. It'll be about the heading, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this heading to 344. And that'll go 45 over. Let's go ahead, we can get on their radios here. CYQX, oh, see they have a tower, damn it. They're probably going to use the that one though. It's got ILS. Let's go over to heading. Get in the pattern. Coming up on the 1500. Perfect timing. And next we'll go on a heading of 030. Gonna have to turn a little early. I think, yeah, we are slightly early. I could have gone straight in a little longer before you turn over. And we are about a mile away, so it's actually not too bad. Maybe slightly close to the runway. High RPM, I'm going to bring the power back a little. By the way, I moved the fuel condition lever, and the fuel flow per hour did not change. So that's kind of nice to know. Alright, so next it would actually be 209, or no, 300 and then 209. What I'll do is I'll just end up going to 209 because the 300 is the base leg, and you can see how close it is. It's not much of a base leg, it's basically just a big U-turn. And because I mean, in real life I could do it, but with having to use a mouse and everything, it's kind of hard to actually set that all up. By the way, one set of flaps coming out. I think that's the takeoff setting. I'm going to take heading off 209. 209. Autopilot off. Flight director and yaw damper off as well. Gonna bring back the power a little bit. Descend a little bit, not too quick, not too quick. A little too much or too tight on that turn. I know we're going to be close to the runway, but banking a little sharp. Yeah. Actually, got us ended up weighing way too sharp. We're slightly high, that's okay. Full flaps. Ballooned us up. Daggone thing. Trying to correct that. Wow, she ballooned us up. I'm pitching down. I don't want to get off the power too much, because we're already well off it. You have to put a little more pressure nose down to get us down. Actually increase the power just a bit because we're coming back on it. So I'm going to slow our descent a little bit. Now we're looking a little better. Off the power just a little bit more. And a little bit more. Yeah, there we are. Coming back on it. Gradually getting off the power a little bit more. Alright, off the power. Not too bad. If I can get on the brakes here. And go to the left. Save ourselves some taxiing time. Perfect. Retracting the flaps. Alright, strobes and landing lights are off. Let's go park her right over here. That's kind of nice. Right up to the building. And the first thing I'm going to do, because I was having those problems, is, oh, come on, get off their yoke. I'm going to hit the parking brake so FSEconomy will go ahead and log it, just in case something happens again. Alright. Oh, I can't believe that happened. It actually worked. So let's go over here. After landing checklist. Actually, all that is good and set. Losing procedures. Some of these pages are falling. I've already moved. Parking brake set. Bleed air. Ventilation fans. All that off. Power lever is idle. ITT is stabilized. Prop RPM lever. Go ahead and feather it. Fuel condition lever. Goes to cut off. Fuel boost switch off. So maybe it's now that it wants it off. Avionics number 1 and 2 come off. Battery switch off. What about all the electronics and stuff? It's kind of weird. It doesn't actually tell you to turn all that stuff off. Well, obviously it needs to be off. This kind of seems incomplete here on this shutdown checklist, doesn't it? Seems very odd to me. I mean, it talks about either oil breather, drain can, and fuel filter, external covers, but never actually tells you to take all that other stuff off. That's kind of weird. One other thing I almost forgot. Stop the recording. Alright, and let's go over to FSEconomy and get ourselves paid. Alright, everybody. The income was $776. We had the plane for 55 minutes. We're leasing it, so it's our plane, so we don't have to pay anything for that. Fuel, we didn't pay anything. That's kind of weird. How did we not pay for fuel? I don't know. Ground crew fee, $77.60. Earnings for the flight, $698.40. So not much. We won't even go. We don't really need to go to the banking. Didn't make much. Like I said, that's not really the point. This flight was a positioning flight, really. CYQX. We need to go ahead and make sure we get this. And let's go ahead and make sure nobody can get that either. Oh man, that would be a fun. I have that plane. Oh, it would be so great to fly that. But we need to get our Caravan out of here. We got that $12,000 job, so that's good. 22 hours. I won't be able to do that. I was gonna say we could possibly get in that. I don't know how to fly it very well, but that would have been fun. So what we have over here, assignments, YT flyers. Add that to my flight. And this will be for the next episode. What I'll probably do in the next episode, we'll just have the plane already started. I really shouldn't have shut it down. It's just like we're turning around, basically. So I'll just probably go ahead and have it started. But I'll talk about that next episode. But because that's the end of this one, I hope you all did enjoy it. And I will catch you guys on the next flight.